Street is, of course, gasping at the news today. They're gasping for air for people who are actually almost running for cover, running from stocks, selling big time, doing whatever they can, because the Dow did collapse today more than 500 points. It is the worst day since the economic collapse in 2008. Investors universally rattled over an intensifying global economic slowdown. And then there is tomorrow. Everyone is bracing himself for tomorrow's report on July unemployment numbers. And that's just here in the United States. The world is now a global economy, and we are all in this together, whether we like it or not. And wait till you hear about what's going on in the Asian markets. And, of course, there's Europe, there's Italy, Portugal, Greece, and Ireland. We're going to have much more on that straight ahead. But first, joining us is Republican presidential contender, former Senator Rick Santorum. Good evening, sir.
Hi, Greta. Good to be with you from Des Moines.
Good to have you here from Des Moines. All right, with today's news, I mean, everyone's gasping for air, people trying to sell stocks. Yeah. Tell me, how did we get into this mess? Is this something that we should have predicted, or are we just so interlocked with the rest of the world that, we feel the impact of them and they feel the impact of us?
Well, it's clear. I mean, it's obviously a global economy, but look, the bottom line is that the United States is doing nothing to help the world in pulling out of this recovery. I mean, we've seen anemic growth. We've seen the policies of this administration strangling business, beating up on businesses, doing everything they can to stunt with big government programs like Obamacare and Dodd-Frank and other things that are just constricting the economy here. And, of course, when America's sick, the rest of the world gets very, very sick, and that's what's happening.
All right. Now, families at home are wondering how has it impacted them. Some people are lucky enough to have a 401k. Some people have money in the stock market. A lot of people don't even have enough money in the stock market. Some people don't even have jobs. If you're watching this tonight and you don't have money in the stock market and you don't even have a job, how does this affect your family?
Well, it affects you because people who do have money in the stock market are now going to be, those folks who you've just talked about have already cut back on their spending because they don't have a job, but they're living, paycheck to paycheck and don't have investments. Now you have people who do have investments who we're counting on, particularly a lot of seniors and people out or near retirement who are going to have to say, wait a minute, these purchases that I might be making, I now don't have the cushion anymore. And so the markets have a profound effect on overall consumer spending, which of course drives 70% of this economy. So this will have an impact on consumer sentiment, will have an impact on spending, will have an impact on growth, will have an impact on jobs. It will all trickle down.
All right. If you were president of the United States tonight, I recognize that you said that it's regulation on business. It is the health care legislation. But if you're president tonight and we are facing, tomorrow morning with unemployment numbers, if they're going to be worse, that probably have an impact. We're waiting for what's going on, what's going to happen in Europe and, of course, in Asia. What would you be doing first thing tomorrow morning or even tonight? What would you do?
Well, what I would be saying is that we have to change course. We have to turn the ship. We have to repeal Obamacare. We have to repeal these regulations. I saw somewhere that John Barraza was talking yesterday about that the Obama administration just in the last month has promulgated regulations that is going to cost business $10 billion a month in this country. I mean, this is the kind of oppressive government. We need to repeal these regulations, stop the rest of them, get rid of Obamacare, get rid of the uncertainty that is on the business community, cut taxes. One of the things I proposed is a 0% corporate tax on manufacturing. We need jobs created in this country. We need to attract manufacturers here. We went from, when I was a kid, 21% of the workforce in manufacturing, now down to 9%. That's where the middle of America is gone. It's gone because we stopped making things here. We've got to get this economy going, and we need policies that believe in business, that believe in markets, that believe in people, not government. And the president believes in big government. He believes in growing this economy by growing government, and it is an abject failure. It's failing around the world. And it's failing here, and we're seeing the contagion.
All right. Is the situation as you see it? I mean, people talk about doing all those things, but it's sometimes thought of as that when you try to fix the economy, it's like moving an aircraft carrier. It takes forever to make that turn. Yeah. In light of the fact that things seem rather catastrophic when you see those numbers today start to decline very quickly, and we do have a high unemployment, at least 9.2% tonight. I don't know what's going to be tomorrow. Yeah. How fast, if you were president of the United States, and if those policies, if you believe they work, how fast could you bring us improvement?
Well, I mean, I would throw on top of that we have to pass a balanced budget amendment because we have to assure credit markets and assure folks that this country is going to get its debt under control. So that's one thing I should have put first, as a matter of fact, is passing a balanced budget amendment, which we should have done in this last budget negotiation. If we can do those things I've just suggested, dramatically stimulate the manufacturing base of this economy, do something to give people comfort that we are going to get our deficit under control, that we're going to get a balanced budget, we're going to constrain the growth of government. environment, that we're going to get the regulatory environment, we're going to repeal Obamacare, Sarbanes-Oxley, Dodd-Frank, and let this economy, rip, roar, and get going, things will turn around very quickly. You've got a lot of money, a lot of cash is sitting on the sideline. A lot of businesses have made profits, but they're unwilling to invest in an economy where a president is so hostile to business, and we have such uncertainty because of the dramatic growth in the federal government and the regulations that are being promulgated. Right. We turn that around, business will take off.
All right, President Obama, without any doubt, inherited a horrible economy. And I've always said that he owns the trend from the minute that he did the stimulus bill. If it went up, he got all the credit. If the economy went down, he took the blame. I'm curious, how much do you lay at the blame for where we are today at the feet of President Obama and his ideology, and how much to simply external factors, the fact that, we are part of this global economy, and when Greece hits the skid, and when, Ireland and Italy and Spain and Portugal, and when China's got their devalue their currency, it all affects us. So how much is the president and his political philosophy, and how much is external?
Well, the political philosophy of the president is consistent with the political philosophy of the Greeks, the Spaniards, and the Italians, which is the government control and socialism and big, expansive government programs that simply are unsustainable by the government that leads to defaults. That's the problem. And so the president has adopted programs that got Europe and these countries in trouble, and is adopting them here. Certainly, there are programs in place, unfunded liabilities in Medicare and Medicaid that were there before he was there. He simply made them worse, and he's also done, as I mentioned before, things that harmed the foundation of our economy. So certainly can't be blamed for everything. There were structural deficits in place, but he has made the situation much worse by the policies that he's adopted from those in Europe who are the problems that we're looking at today.
All right, the debt ceiling. You've taken some swipes at Republicans about their vote on the debt ceiling when it was raised recently. Why?
Well, I took some swipes of saying that they didn't do what we needed to be done. We needed to balance the budget. We need to limit the size and scale of government. And what they did with this proposal was kick the can down the road. They did get some cuts, but everyone knows those cuts in the first 2 years are small. Those are the only ones that really can be controlled. And then in 2 years, there may be a new Congress, hopefully a new president, and maybe we can get more. But if this president's reelected, I can tell you those cuts are not going to take place. And plus, you have this promise of maybe somebody coming forward with a bill that will reduce the deficit even more. But if it doesn't happen, you're going to cut defense spending, which is the last thing we should be doing right now. So I just think it was a bad deal. And the swipe I took was that you've got, 3 members of Congress who want to run for president, who are out there talking about how they're going to be the ones that should lead the country. And they couldn't even lead the Republicans to do what they said they wanted to do, and voted against the bill. So I don't know how, if you think you want to be president, lead the country, and if you can't lead Congress, it doesn't speak well for your ability to lead the country.
All right, so I assume by members of Congress, you're talking about Michelle Bachmann, Representative Paul, and Representative DaCosta, right? Or McCotter, right?
McCotter. Yeah,
McCotter.
Look,
those are the 3.
I didn't see anybody following their lead or them playing a leadership role in this very critical time as they're out there saying they want to lead the country. And I think that's an issue that people need to look at.
I thought when we last spoke that what mattered most to you, and maybe I got it wrong, was the whole idea of a balanced budget amendment, which there will be a vote on a balanced budget amendment. And I thought what you said is, give the president everything now that he wants, essentially, and that, and that just get the balanced budget amendment, because it's going to take 5, 6, 7 years to get that, but at least to get that started. I thought that's what you wanted.
That's exactly what I wanted. I said from the very beginning, not just on your show, but before your show, that we should have had a singular focus. We should have sat down, the Tea Party, the House, the Senate should have gotten together and said, look, what we really want to accomplish is limited government and a balanced budget. The only way to accomplish that is to pass a balanced budget amendment. Passing spending cuts right now, as desirous as they are, and as much as I support them, don't get us to that goal. They move us, as we've seen, they move us in the direction. But if that's all we do, which is all we did, then everybody, all the Tea Party folks, all the conservatives were against it, because it didn't accomplish what our goal was. We needed to focus on the long term and be willing to concede things in the short term to get to where we wanted to go. If we passed a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, which limited spending at 18% of GDP and required a balanced budget going forward, we would not be in the situation we were at these credit markets. To the markets today, we would not be in the situation in Europe. You would see that America is going to be sound and stable going forward. We would be giving that confidence to the markets and to the country that we were going to get government under control. We were not going to become a socialist hopeless problem like Greece is becoming right now, and we would have a completely different dynamic that we're looking at today.
Senator, thank you, sir.